Good morning, dear cadets. So yesterday I taught you the classification of solids. So basically, how many types of solids are there? There are two types of solid: amorphous solid and crystalline solids. So yesterday's video I taught you the difference between crystalline solid and amorphous solid. Okay, and there are so many application of amorphous solid, like just see pitch is used to make the roads, coal used as a fuel, rubber is used as a insulator material, and glass these are the amorphous solid. And as far as the crystalline solid is concerned, their application you will study in upcoming topics in the same unit. Okay, so the amorphous solid is equally important. Plastic, just see nowadays what is there, our life is incomplete without the use of plastic. Okay, rubber, glass, pitch, quartz, these are the melted quartz. Okay, so they have got the variety of application. Now let us move towards the another topic of this unit, that is the classification of crystalline solid. Okay, so there is no types of amorphous solid, but of course there is a types of crystalline solid. Crystalline solid is basically divided into four categories: molecular solid, ionic solid, metallic solid, and covalent solid. Okay, so the first one is molecular solid. What is the molecular solid? Molecular solid means where constituent particles are small molecules. Okay, actually molecular solid is three types: non-polar solid, polar solid, and hydrogen bonded solid. So as far as the non-polar solid is concerned, I can understand that you are very much aware about the non-polar and polar. Non-polar means when the covalent bond is formed between similar kinds of atom, H2, Cl2, Br2, I2, they are the non-polar. Okay, so in non-polar molecular solid, these are the example: solid argon, solid H2, solid carbon dioxide, iodine molecules, I2, solid iodine molecules. Polar solid means polar covalent bond is there, means one should be more electronegative atom, other should be less electronegative atom. Example: HCl, NH3SO2. Hydrogen bonded solid is H2O. Okay, so these are the three examples. In all the three cases, constituent particle would be small molecules. Remember, best example of non-polar solid is inert gases. Now you will tell, sir, in inert gases only one atom is there, so how can we consider that they are the molecules? But remember, inert gases, helium, neon, argon, krypton, xenon, their one atom is considered to be molecules, means that is equivalent to molecules. That is why they are called monoatomic molecules. What is that one? Monoatomic molecules, because their one atom is acting as a molecules. Okay, so these are the examples of molecular solid. Now detailed study is also there, don't worry, one by one I will take. Next one solid is ionic solid. So in ionic solid, what are the example? Ions are there, positively charged and negatively charged ions: NaCl, zinc sulfide, calcium chloride, sodium sulfate, potassium nitrate. These are the examples of ionic solid. Metallic solid. In metallic solid, what are there? Metals are there. Crystal lattice of metals are there: copper, aluminium, argon, silver, gold. These are the metallic solid. We'll tell you in detail what are the metallic solid. Next one is covalent solid. In covalent solid, what is there? Covalent bonded molecules are there. Okay, example: silicon carbide, this is known as carborundum. Silicon carbide, this is known as carborundum. Next one is diamond, graphite, quartz, and boron nitride. These are the examples of covalent solids. Okay, now let us begin with the first types of solid, that is molecular solid. in molecular solid, we will study all category of solid under 3 headings. Number 1, constituent particle, second one is attractive force, and the third one is physical property of that molecular solid and examples. So as far as example is concerned, separately only I wrote here. Just see, all 4 category example I wrote here only. Okay. So let us begin with molecular solid. So what are the constituent particle of molecular solid? Small covalent molecules. Okay. In molecular solid, whatever example is there, like just see, don't get confused. Once again I am telling you, means zero group gases, they are considered to be the molecular solid only, but there only one atom is there, but name is molecular solid because their one atom is equivalent to molecules. Okay, so don't get confused, because here I am telling the name molecular solid and giving you example of zero group gases where only one atom is there. So remember, their one atom is equivalent to molecules. So just see, their constituent particles are small covalent molecules. Now just see, molecular solid is 3 types: non-polar solid, polar solid, hydrogen bonded solid. So in non-polar solid, the best example is inert gases. So what are the constituent particle? Their constituent particles are atoms of noble gases. And I wrote here, one atom is considered to be equivalent of molecules. And what are the attractive forces of non-polar solid? The attractive forces of non-polar solid is London forces or dispersion forces. And these London forces or dispersion forces, Keesom forces also, in 11th class only I taught you. Like just see, how many examples of London forces are there? Dipole, dipole, induced. There are different variety, isn't it? And last year we have discussed all those things. So attractive forces are London forces, dispersion forces are dispersion forces. Polar solid. Polar solid means what is there? One atom should be of less electronegative, other should be more electronegative. So the covalent bond would be of polar in nature. So the polar molecules, what are the polar molecules? Polar molecule means their constituent particles are polar molecules. Example already I wrote here. Just see, HCl. H is less electronegative, Cl is more electronegative. Nitrogen is more electronegative, hydrogen is less electronegative in NH3. So here constituent particles are the polar molecules. HCl is a polar molecules, NH3 is polar molecules, SO2 is polar molecules. Now, so here polar molecules is the constituent particle. What is the attractive force? Dipole-dipole interaction. Dipole-dipole interaction. Now try to understand dipole-dipole interaction. Just see, this is, suppose this is HCl molecules. Okay, this side positive sign, this side negative sign is there. Suppose this is coming into contact of other HCl molecules which is also polar in nature. So just try to understand. Now here positive and here negative. So now there would be little bit attraction between negative end of one polar molecules with the positive end of other polar molecules. So such type of interaction is called dipole interaction. That is why how we are writing? We are writing dipole slash, then what is there? Dipole. So this is one pole, this is another pole, this one. Okay, so this is itself a dipolar molecule, this is also a dipolar molecules. So the opposite poles of both molecules attract each other. So this is called dipole-dipole interaction. So in polar solid, dipole-dipole interaction is found. This is the attractive force. Remember, you should remember the attractive force. Examples already I wrote here. Hydrogen bonded molecules. And as far as hydrogen bonding is concerned, you are very much aware. What hydrogen bonding, means hydrogen bonded solid, what are the constituents? Constituent particles are molecules containing hydrogen which is bonded with electronegative atom like O, N, F. Okay, so the molecules containing H atom bonded to electronegative atom like O, N, F. Okay, that is hydrogen bonded solid. What are the attractive forces? Attractive forces are hydrogen bond. Attractive forces are hydrogen bond. Okay, attractive forces are hydrogen bond. Example is water is the best example. And now what are the overall physical property of molecular solid? Just see here. As far as the physical property is concerned, you have to explain 2-3 things. Number one, whether they are solid or liquid or gas. One thing means you have to tell about their physical state. Second one thing, you have to tell about their melting point. Okay. Third one thing, you have to tell about their thermal and electrical conductivity. So 3-4 properties you have to tell in each category of solid. Now let us begin with the physical property of molecular solid. So the number one is physical state. So as far as physical states of this one is concerned, basically they are very soft. They are solid only, but they are soft. Except hydrogen bonded molecules, this is polar and non-polar, they are very soft. One thing. What is the second one thing you have to tell? Melting point. Their melting point is low only. Okay, because molecular these forces, London forces, Keegan forces, dispersion forces, or dipole interaction forces, they are not very strong. Okay, so their melting point is low only. Okay, what about thermal and electrical conductivity? So just see, they are forming means soft crystal lattice, and free ions are not there. That is why they are the bad conductor of electricity. Bad conductor of electricity. Their bonding energy is so bad conductor of electricity means they are insulator. What are they? They are insulator. Okay, and now their binding energy is also less. Binding energy is also less. So this is all about the physical property of molecular solid. Next one is ionic solid. In ionic solid, what are the constituent particles? Positively and negatively charged ions. Okay, what are the attractive forces? Electrostatic attractive forces are binding forces. Electrostatic force of attraction or ionic bond is there. Ionic bond is there between a positively charged ions. Okay, now what are the physical properties? Example already I wrote here. Physical properties, they are hard but brittle. What is the meaning of brittle? Means when they are irregular breaking. Okay, irregular breaking means just see, they will not cleaved with a definite plane. Okay, that is why this means ionic solids, they are hard but brittle. They means it is difficult to break them, but once they are broken, they will not break with the definite plane. Okay, so that is why they are brittle. Their melting point is very high due to the presence of strong electrostatic force of attraction. Due to presence of strong electrostatic force of attraction, their melting point is very high. Now third one is their electrical conductivity. They are good conductor of electricity in aqueous state. Okay, just try to understand. Ionic solids are held together by electrostatic force of attraction. Ionic solids are held together by electrostatic force of attraction. In solid states, what is there? They are poor conductor. Why? Because ions are held together by strong electrostatic force of attraction. That is why they are poor conductor. But in molten and aqueous state, they are good conductor of electricity, because in aqueous state or molten state, strong electrostatic force of attraction gets broken and ions are free to conduct the electricity. Who is responsible for the conduction of electricity? Free electrons and free ions. Those free ions can only be made free when force of attraction is getting broken. Just see, suppose this is NaCl. So between this one and this one, what is there? Electrostatic force of attraction is there. In solid state, these electrostatic force of attraction is present. So ions are not movable, ions are not free. but the moment you dissolve them in water, so these force of attraction gets broken. Now here Na positive is free and Cl negative is free. Then what would be there? These Na positive and Cl negative ion, they are free to conduct electricity. That is why ionic compounds are good conductor of electricity in molten and in aqueous state, but they are bad conductor of electricity in solid state. Please remember this one. Okay, 3 physical properties are enough. Now 2 more solids are there, that is metallic solid and covalent solid. Okay, so now third one is metallic solid. Okay, so in metallic solid, what is there? First we have to tell about the constituent particle. First understand, suppose an atom of metal is there. So in any atom, how many things are there? 3 things are there. Nucleus is there, inner cells are there. Okay, you can make, just see, this is nucleus. Okay, these are inner cells, and according to their atomic number, inner cells and outermost cells will be decided, and this is last one is outermost cell. Okay, so in any atom basically how many things are there? Nucleus, inner cells and outermost cells. Okay, now try to understand, nucleus and inner cell is equal to kernel. Okay, what is this one? Means nucleus and inner cells, they are called another term, that is kernel. So now atom equal to what is there? Kernel plus outermost cell. Okay, so now what is the kernel now? Kernel equal to atom minus outermost cell. Means from any atom, if outermost cell is removed, so what is left? Inner cells and nucleus, that is only called kernel. Okay, now try to understand the concept of kernel in metal. Just see, generally metal atomic size is large, ionization enthalpy is less. Metal atomic size is large and ionization enthalpy is less. So when ionization enthalpy is less and atomic size is large, so very easily outermost cell's electron can be removed. Can be removed or not? So in the crystal lattice of metal, what is there? Outermost cell's electrons are almost mobile. So what is there? And don't think that only one atom of metal is there. If so many metal atoms are there, those atoms belongs to the same metal only. Let us say I have taken the example of copper. Okay, so copper, so many atoms are there. So all atoms outermost cells electrons are mobile. So this negative sign is representing electron, and this positive charge is representing the kernel. Okay, so just see, in metallic solid what are the constituent particle? Positively charged ions, that is kernel. What are the kernel? Kernel is nothing but a positively charged ions of metal. Positively charged ions of metal, that is called kernel. Okay, so in the metal what would be there? C of mobile electron would be there. You can write this one, this is C of mobile electron. This is C of mobile electron. What is this one? This is C of mobile electron, and kernel is immersed in it. Positively charged ion is immersed in it. So the simultaneous attractive force between positively charged ions kernel and mobile electron is known as metallic bond. This is only called metallic bond. So in metallic solid what kind of attractive force is there? Metallic. What kind of attractive force is there? Metallic bond. So what is metallic bond? Simultaneous attractive force between positively charged kernel and C of mobile electron. C of mobile electron. So metallic bond is formed between mobile electron of metal and positively charged kernel. Means just see, this positively charged ions will be attracted with this electron, this electron, this electron, this electron, this electron. Okay, so this is, what are the constituent particle? Constituent particle is positively charged kernel and electron. And what is the attractive force? Attractive force is metallic bond. What is the metallic bond? Simultaneous attractive force between positively charged kernel and C of mobile electron, or positively charged ion immersed in C of mobile electron. Okay, so I hope that you understood the concept of kernel. Okay, now what are the physical properties of metallic solid? They are hard, malleable, ductile. You know the property of metals. Their melting point is moderate to high. Their melting point is moderate to high. And what is third one? Good conductor of electricity. Okay, they are good conductor of electricity in solid state. So what is the difference between ionic solid and metallic solid? Ionic solid, they conduct electricity through ions, positively and negatively charged ions. But metallic solid, they conduct electricity through mobile electron, free electron. That is first difference. What is the second difference? Ionic solid, they conduct electricity either in molten state or aqueous state. But metallic solid, they conduct electricity in solid state only. They are good conductor of electricity in solid state only. And who is conducting electricity? Free electron. While in case of ionic solid, who is conducting electricity? Ions. Okay, so that is the difference. Okay, one more difference is there. With the increase of temperature, ionic conductivity increases because ions gets dissociated. But with the increase of temperature, metallic conductivity decreases. This is also one of the difference. So please remember this one also. In this way, metallic solid is completed. Now last one is covalent solid. Diamond is covalent solid. Graphite is covalent solid. Carborundum, silicon carbide, boron nitride, quartz, they are covalent solid. They are also called network solid. Network solid or giant solid. Network solid or giant solid. What are the constituent particle? In covalent solid, constituent particles are atoms. Constituent particles are atoms. In covalent solid, constituent particles are atoms. What are the attractive forces? Attractive forces are covalent bond. What are the attractive forces? Attractive forces are covalent bond. What are the physical properties? Physical property, they are very hard except graphite. Melting point is very high, but very low also. Okay, both things are there. Moderate to high. Now they are insulator. They are not good conductor of electricity, but chemistry is the subject of exception. Graphite is a good conductor of electricity. So this is all about the different types of solids. Now in NCERT book, they have given here the structure of diamonds and graphites. Structure of diamond and graphite. Okay, so we'll explain you tomorrow what is the structure of diamond and graphite. Okay, and what are the, why they are called network solid or giant solid. Okay, thank you. And I hope that by tomorrow you will join also, so there won't be need of a video also. Thank you.